Well, welcome everybody to the latest edition of Mentorship Matters. I'm Mike Fox. I happen to have the honor of being the chairman of the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters here in Orange County. And my guest is my old friend Scott Sherman, the executive vice president of human resources at Ingram Micro, one of the largest distributors of technology products in the world. Scott, thanks for coming here.
Yeah, you got it. Old friend?
Old friend.
Old friend?
Old friend. Yeah, well, our friendship is older.
Old.
We're not old.
But we're not
Yeah,
old.
we're
Okay,
not
all
old.
right.
Not
Good.
at all. Not at all. Ingram Micro's got, 24,000 employees now globally?
Thereabouts, yeah.
And you have the responsibility for the talent in that crowd.
Well, I try. I have responsibility for the function that's responsible for that.
That's true.
But, hopefully, and we'll talk about it, hopefully it's our leaders that at the end of the day really have responsibility for that.
Well, let's talk about that culture that I know Ingram Micro has, because I've had the opportunity to work with you. It is a culture that does foster leadership, really.
We hope so. Look, at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day, what we do is all through human ingenuity. Everything we do requires human ingenuity and human tenacity, and we need great leaders to motivate that, to incubate that. That's, at the end of the day, what every company really does, and it's what all of us do in our professions. If we're professional parents, if we're professional teachers, if we're professional HR folks or leaders, what we're doing is we're incubating talent. AI can do a lot of things, but it can't create a future. No. We create the future, and that's what we hope our leaders are doing at Ingram.
Yeah, I heard that. I was at an AI conference recently. I heard the line, "AI will do the ordinary. Humans have to do the extraordinary."
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is. And you mentioned this incubator part of the talent. Obviously, mentoring is a part of that.
It's a big part of that. It's a really important part of it, especially when done right. Mentoring is, we talk about mentoring. We talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and their incredible mentoring activities. Mentoring's hard work.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's not always well done. It's not always done for the right reasons, like what happens at Big Brothers, Big Sisters, but certainly it's got an important place in human growth, and you know this, right? You grew up in a coaching, mentoring family.
Yes, I did. Yeah, mentorship is a lifelong. I've always said this. Mentorship is a lifelong thing, right? Either as a mentee or a mentor, or in most of our cases, both.
Right.
You learn through watching and seeing others and getting input from others. I had the opportunity. The gentleman who was my mentor for many, many years when I first started in my consulting business recently passed away. He was in his 80s, and he did not get cheated, so it was a celebration of life. And he had mentored and influenced so many people that at the celebration of life, there were probably 100 people there who he had mentored, quote unquote. And you realize the influence that has on individuals. Yep. Because then we all learn from him, right? And when you think about an organization the size of Ingram Micro, where you've got 24,000 people across the globe, you have to leverage that. It has to be one to many if you can do it.
Oh, sure, it has to be one to many, and it needs to be a combination of good sort of lifelong learning just by being and doing. Right? You and I think, have talked about this. I talk about the 4 stages of leadership: learn, do, master, and teach. And so we have to provide the environment for people to learn and do and master and then teach. And along that route, they sponsor, they lead, and sometimes the really good ones learn how to mentor.
Yeah.
And it's different from being a sponsor. It's different from being a supervisor. It really is a more holistic and I think long-term relationship.
You certainly hope it can be. I know at Big Brothers, we look at the mentorship path that many of our mentors take, and some of them it's a short, it's a 3-month, 6-month deal, or maybe a year or two. But the very best ones, they're mentoring their young person from when they're in their early ages through high school, through college, and they stay with them for most of their careers. And maybe it's a once a quarter touch base is all it boils down to at that point. Then. Hopefully more, but maybe something like that.
Yeah, but I was thinking over the weekend about the difference between supervising and leading and sponsoring and mentoring. And mentoring really is when you're learning just how to be a bigger and better you. And it may be because you've never had those experiences before. And you may not have anybody in your life that has had those experiences. And you find this, I don't know, almost soulmate in this relationship where it's probably more intense at the start, and then it becomes more sporadic. But when done right, it never goes away. I have colleagues that say, I talked to my mentor about this last week, and they're in their 40s or 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's awesome. I think it's amazing that they found this person that can help them be a better them, and probably the reverse at the same time.
Yeah, most of our mentors tell us that they get as much out of it as they put into it. And sometimes, many of them say, I get way more out of it than I help
Sure.
with the young guy.
Well, our son Sam, who's now in his 30s. When he lived here in Orange County, he became a big.
Yeah, he was a big, yeah.
He became a big to a young man that really challenged him. And Sam, by the way, Sam, I actually talked about you on one of these. You're now taken care of. And Sam really had to think about his life as well as his mentee's life and how he could get through to this young man. And I saw a really marked change in Sam.
In Sam.
This young man was very different from our son. Not good, not bad, just different. And Sam didn't know how to get through to him. And if I recall correctly, Sam talked to his mom too. And they eventually got somewhere. In fact, Big Brothers Big Sister says, if you want to switch out to another mentee, let us know. And he said, no, I need to stick with this.
Good for Sam.
It made Sam a better Sam. And I think that's true when mentoring and menteeing is done well.
When you think about what that did for that young person, right? Finally, somebody could get through to them, and quite frankly, change their life, change the course of their life because of it.
Right.
And it doesn't take much, but
No,
it takes work.
It takes a neutral to come in and not try to change you. It's sort of like the golf instructor who when you go, they want to change everything, including your shoe size.
Yeah.
Sam wanted to go help this young man be a better him, and learn about things that Sam might have known about that he didn't have anybody to teach him about.
Yeah. It's interesting. Big Brothers National did a survey recently, did some research. Confidence in young people in their career aspirations is at its lowest point since they've been doing the work. And roughly 74%, I think is the number, do not have access to a mentor. And they're lost. And especially in today's world with all the issues we have around connectivity and presence and all the rest, if you don't have somebody you can talk to, you got a problem.
I really struggled over the weekend to think about, did I actually have a real mentor? And I don't know that I did. I don't know that I did until really, I would say late in my career, but that would assume that I'm late in my career now. So well into my career. My folks never went to university. I had a great aunt that went to some. I didn't have a role model for applying to school and making career decisions and all of that. And I was doing an interview one day with a publication at the grad school I went to, and the writer said, "Scott, how'd you get this job?" And I said, "If I reflect properly, luck." And she said,
"Make your own luck."
Well, she also said that the article needed to be longer than one word. But I think it was a lot of luck. And I thought, and I talked to my wife about it yesterday. I was like, if I had a mentor, would the outcome have been any different? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would have had more confidence along the way in, was I making the right decisions, or was I making the decisions that I just knew about? And I wound up having mentors deeper into my career, people that
Yeah.
to some extent people that you are.
Yeah.
And when I came to Orange County in the Allergan job, that was a life-altering experience that I didn't know how to have.
First of all, it was from Orange County, from Minnesota, so you had to get rid of all the heavy coats.
That's
alone
right.
was
Had to
gonna
get rid
kill
of the heavy coats. But I didn't know how to be in a job like that. And you or John Bremen or others that helped me understand that was probably the first time I had really make me a better me type mentoring that has lasted more than a period of an assignment somewhere.
Yeah, I contrast that to how I grew up, right? Because I had those people in front of me every day, right? For those who don't know, I grew up in a family of professional baseball. My father was in professional baseball. So I got to see professional coaches and professional athletes, some of whom are the greatest in the world, every day talk to a coach, talk to a mentor. And it was hardwired with me. So even though I think when I got to college, to your point, right, I get to college and you're kind of lost, you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do. There was a professor who kind of took me under his wing because I was fouling up, and he decided to help me. Right. Because of my upbringing, I was open to that. Right, I didn't push that gentleman away. I said, "Oh, hey, listen, this guy can help me. I need to listen." Right. And so you hope young people get a chance to listen. One of the things that we've noticed in some of the work we've done, and again the survey, we found that employers find that employees who are mentors are their turnover rate is half of what those that aren't.
Oh, I'm sure that's
as
true.
mentors, not
yeah. I'm sure that's true. There's a professor up at Stanford in the business school, Bill Barnett, and he talks about what you believe and what you know. I believe that statement to be true. I don't know it to be true. But here's why believing it is what matters. Because what we see is that mentors, and we've got plus or minus 20 mentors a year that work with big brothers, big sisters, students. And I've seen on occasion of popping in what those relationships are like and who's getting what from them. In fact, I think we were one of the first in the high school program at Ingram Micro to invite mentees into the organization. You find purpose in the great things you do and where you do them. And so if we've picked the right people to be mentors, that they will be valued and get value from the experience, then I would believe they're going to be more committed to that relationship and to the relationship they have with us.
Yes.
I hope that's true. We do it because it's really just the right thing to do. And our tenets of success, being a responsible member of our community, is important. And the community extends just beyond our community of employees and our local geographic community. These are folks we wouldn't have met were it not for Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
And what Scott's talking about is our program called Workplace Mentorship, where Big Brothers facilitates the employees at the organization, our corporate partners who are very important to us, to have mentor junior college kids, basically.
Yeah, I think we did high school and junior college. Yeah.
And you guys are doing roughly 20 a year, and some of your bigs have been recognized as bigs of the year in that program.
That's right. When I spoke to Jennifer Wigman recently, she's doing it because it's the right thing to do. I know how busy she is, and she finds time because it matters to her. It matters to her little, and the consequences that she creates are life-changing. Yeah. And she wouldn't have it. She didn't do it for accolade or anything else. She did it because it was the right thing to do in her mind. And she's phenomenal at it.
Yeah, as proven by the awards, right? I mean, and I got the chance to meet her little at a dinner recently, and she's fabulous. And you could tell, and she was so thankful for Jennifer's efforts. Right. Really was. Yeah. Really just the great result of that mentor-mentee relationship. Changed her life, changed that young person's life.
I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, no, she did. She absolutely did. When you think about what you're doing at Ingram and how that's all working out, the long-term aspects of this to your workforce, the example of that I mentioned earlier about young people not having the confidence that they've got the skills, right? We know that what's going on in today's world, there have been lots of studies about the struggles that young people are having, especially young men and boys. There's been lots written about that. That's a workforce pipeline problem for you. If for any corporation, quite frankly, if we can't get these young people up to speed, we've got a problem.
Oh, and by the way, let's be clear, we have a problem.
Yeah.
So let's look at the last, 8 years. We go through a pandemic where we told young folks who sometimes struggle to engage with their communities that they can't go out and participate in their communities, and they're going to stay home, all for the right reasons. I'm not questioning that at all. but we didn't develop those skills to go out and to be business social or community social or whatever you might want to call it. We went to school online. We went to work online. We didn't know how to establish the relationship that comes simply by being in the office or classroom together. We didn't know how to influence simply by participating in a physically present, face-to-face kind of way. And now those folks have gone back to school for a few years or to work. They're struggling through that transition. And now we're focused on AI, on artificial intelligence, which is disintermediating some tasks. And this is a personal opinion, every job eliminated because we called it AI related is not because AI is doing the tasks. It's because we're reprioritizing tasks and we're reprioritizing budget dollars in some of these companies so that we can afford the AI investment. Mm-hmm. That's different from the work's now being done by a machine. Right. Some of which is happening. So now we took these young folks who just went through this really awkward school and business experience, and we're saying your very basic tasks that you were going to do for the first few years are either not being done or being done by a machine. And then we struggle with, well, what are we going to do? Yeah. Because the machine's doing, let me make this up, 0 to 5 year work. Yep. So what do I do as the HR leader at Ingram? What do we do about the 6-year skills? How do you bridge that? Do you bring 6 year to 0? And how do you do that? Or do you somehow say we're going to keep some of the 0 to 5 so we have people to do the 6? And I don't know the answer. Our CEO, Paul Bay, and I were talking about it a week or so ago. I don't know that any of us really know the answer. We know what we're doing. Right. That may not be the answer. And so we've got all these folks who have had a really different, maybe awkward experience, and we're asking them to be full-fledged adults really fast without role model behavior, role model experiences. Thank goodness big brothers and big sisters and other mentors are around to help. Yeah.
Well, it'd be like asking a freshman in college, a freshman football player in college, to play linebacker in the NFL. That 5-year gap. Right now, all of a sudden, bang, you got to be there. You haven't had a chance to build those skills.
Yeah, we're still going to have to create cohorts of learners.
Yes.
And we're just going to have to teach more at work. So if the learn, do, master, and teach, you're just going to have to master faster, teach more, and we're going to have to ask people to learn at an accelerated rate. And universities are going to have to plug some of the gaps.
Yes, I agree.
But you go back to the football player conversation. How about just the young person that's going off to university and it's the first time they've left home? Yeah. And now they've got to, I don't know, figure out what they're eating. Yeah. I had milkshakes for like most of my first semester.
I was going to say it was hard enough when we did it. Yeah.
I had milkshakes for breakfast for a semester. And how to fend for themselves and learn. And if you think about our community in Orange County, we have an enormous number of amazing first-generation students.
True.
How do we help them?
Well, and that's what we find in Big Brothers and Big Sisters is many of our littles are first-generation college graduates.
Absolutely.
I mean, completely first-generation. Yep. And these kids have never been away from home. And how do you make that happen? You're right, universities have to pick up some of that slack. And organizations like ours that are putting together programs for college kids. We've got a big careers program where older professionals will mentor a college student to help them get through that first job look, right? How do I I have to put on a jacket and a tie, and I have to go shake hands with people? How does this work? Right. Skills they never learned. They haven't learned.
Look, you know me for a long time, and I originally wanted to do something very different than what I do today. And I didn't have anybody to help me through it. And when it came time to applying for graduate school, I had nobody I knew that ever went to graduate school. And I went and I got help from an application coach, somebody who did this stuff, so I could at least figure things out.
Yeah, no, it matters. It matters a great deal. When we think about this future workforce and knowing that our corporate partners are looking for this kind of help, if you were talking to a young HR person, maybe now is maybe the assistant vice president for talent management, what advice would you give them as far as getting their leadership act together around mentorship and how they do that in their organization?
Oh, there's a couple different approaches. So one is, if you want to teach somebody who really wants to learn, this is a great way to do it. If you want to change the world one human at a time, this is a really great way to do it. If you want to become a better leader of peer professionals at work, go to this laboratory called Mentoring at Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Thank you. Yeah,
And look, that's why our folks do it. Do our folks at Ingram Micro say, if I'm a really good mentor, I'm going to be a really great leader, and this is going to accelerate my growth? Maybe. I think they're more likely to say, I'm just going to be a really good person, and this is going to make a mark in someone's life that I'm going to remember forever. And then when they're done with it, they'll say, and it made an equal mark on mine.
Yep. Yeah, they don't go into it self-serving at all.
No.
No one does. No one does. Everybody goes into it to try to help someone.
That's right.
Yeah, and treat someone as a human being. That's basically it, right? But what we do see is this need in the workforce that's just not being met.
Well, I think that's been true. I think it's likely to remain true. And we're going to have to supplement it. We talk about mentoring at work in a professional setting.
Yeah.
And it has some mixed results because people really confuse it with sponsorship.
Right.
Or coaching. And mentoring isn't the relationship that's going to get you the next job. It may be the relationship that helps you earn the best job yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say it'll never. You're right. It's not that contact. It's not I met so and so and now I get to interview at company X. Right.
Right.
It's more like I met so and so and he helped me get the skills.
And I ask all the time because I've seen good and bad mentoring. I ask folks, what do we want mentoring to solve here? Because there are different choices. Not every mentor for every experience or vice versa, but it's why. The why is important. And if the why is, I need to accelerate my executive interactions, great. Go find a sponsor.
Yeah, go find a sponsor. That's right.
Mentoring is more of a holistic, we just want to make you a better you relationship.
That's right.
In my opinion.
I completely agree with you. Let's talk about where you see the next 5 years in this world now. We've got AI coming at us, lock, stock, and barrel. It's not going to stop, right? And hopefully people will use it for good and not for evil.
Right.
But you still got that workforce. How do you see? Let's say Ingram Micro. How do you see Ingram Micro over the next 5 years dealing with this?
We need to understand the power of AI and where it adds the greatest benefit to us. At the end of the day, we're still going to hire humans and human ingenuity and human passion. And it should be able to make the jobs of those humans more efficient. But we're going to have to teach and learn differently. I don't see a way around it. When I was talking to one of our HR colleagues earlier today, I don't have the answer, but I know the problems we have to solve. AI won't put what we're shipping in the box for us. Right? We still have, with all the robots in the world, we still need humans in warehouses. Still, that may change, but we still do. We're going to need humans. People want to talk to people. But we'll have to figure out, how do we accelerate the learning for folks? Yeah. We've disintermediated employees through every form of industrial revolution.
Yeah.
So we have another one now. At the end of really all of them so far, employment has grown. Right. You can't predict the future very well. So we certainly don't know what happens. But I would anticipate that we're going to have great work for all of the folks that are looking for it. That work may be different. It may not be a job in an office. It may be a job behind I don't know, beautiful power equipment, making amazing things with your skills in people's homes or whatever, and great proud tradespeople, which we need well more of in this country.
Yeah.
So the jobs that we have may change. The value that those jobs offer shouldn't.
No. In order for those people to get those skills, they need mentors. You got to have them.
They do. Somebody who may say, hey, that path may not be the best for you. Have you thought about this?
Right.
So I lived in Switzerland. Our family lived in Switzerland for a bit, and probably too young than they should, but in their early teens, they take aptitude tests. And as a result of those tests, they go on the university track or the trade track.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, the tradespeople I worked with in Switzerland were truly exceptional and really proud of the work they do. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And so we just have to make sure we've got ample opportunity for people to excel and have value added to their world and add value to the world more broadly.
Yeah, people get confused with education being college education. It's education.
It's a great way to say it,
Yeah,
Mike.
it's education in skills.
And
Some
I
of it
feel-
may be college. Some of it might be
Right.
learning how to use the machine.
And I feel awkward. I don't want to suggest college isn't the right path.
No.
I don't know the right path. We need to find the right and valuable paths for folks. AI won't do all of that. People with great skills and mentors and passion will do that. And if that is the case, then it'll be like every other version of an industrial
That's
revolution.
right. And in all of that, mentorship will matter. So, Scott, thank you so much for taking
Yeah.
the time today. It's been fun. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Good seeing you,
And
my friend.
for all of you who tuned in, thank you very much, and we will see you all soon.
Thanks.